There was I started doing a show during I started working on something during the pandemic, and it was fine. I was pretty outspoken, and people liked it that were working with the show. But the powers that be, wanted me to do the game of, the game. They didn't want it. They didn't say it, but it was implied that in order for me to keep doing this particular thing, I was going to have to. And and I was like, I can't do that. And so, nothing happened. It just kind of tapered off. But now, I'm going to be working with them again. And they know. No. And so it's like.
They also know that doesn't work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So now you're okay.
But the fact that, that I waited and the fact that at one point what was demonized is now considered good.
And no one's ever said they're sorry.
Ever.
Like, we're sorry that we wouldn't hire you.
Ever. Well, that was the whole thing about, remember the Santa Cruz story? When I did the Pineapple Hill Saloon, and thank you for saying all those beautiful things. You're so sweet. It was literally because the hypocrisy was so real that I could have lit a fire. I'm going to get angry now. Okay, because I could take, and I don't care, I could take gasoline and I could light a fucking fire on the boulevard. I'm going to tell you why. Because you have a woman who owns Pineapple Hill Saloon, a small business owner, okay, who's, I don't know if she's divorced, if her husband died or whatever. She's literally struggling, okay, a staple in the fucking community, okay? Employs like great actresses and comedians as bartenders and waiters, like really like works with them as like when their schedule is open to get a job or audition, loving. It's like what you want in a day job as you're trying to make your dreams. Shut down. Applies for everything. Rebuked. Shut down. Everything you want to say, right? And then one of the first productions that opens up, she applied to serve food outside to people with 6 feet. That was rebuked. Then masks and 6 feet. That was rebuked. Then I'll put all the food out and I'll make it like a fucking wedding buffet. That was rebuked. Okay, rebuffed, whatever the fucking word is.
Rejected.
I know. Across the fucking way. I could get crazy.
Get crazy.
Was an 80-person fucking TV show. At least 80-person crew. Literally, no masks, talking, sitting, conversing, not fucking 6 feet, not 2 inches from each other.
And she cried.
And they're all allowed to eat and shoot a movie or TV show or whatever it was because Hollywood was paying big money and Newsom allowed that. But a small business by a fucking woman who's just trying to survive wasn't. Literally, it was 50 feet from her property. The hypocrisy was so intense that I would have stood on that stage every fucking night until Gascon and every bum comes out. Because they're bums. I'm not political. I talked to Michael Rappaport the other day, who I love.
I love him.
And Rap is probably different in beliefs in certain things than me. But we're both homies because at the end of the day, we're actors and we love to laugh and we both understand common sense. So even if he loves Trump and I fucking, or hates Trump and I like Trump, not that I'm pro-Trump or he's anti-Trump, I'm just saying, we can still communicate. And my point is that I forget, fucking my brain. But all I want to say is that it makes me so angry. Oh, I know what it was. He goes, "Why did you start doing it in politics?" And I said, "Why did you get into politics?" He goes, "Because we both don't like politics, and we both talk about it on our Instagram." And I said, "I felt like because we had to."
Right.
And he's like, "I know, right?" Like he's like, it's gotten so. We both said it's gotten so bad that him and I are talking about it. That's insane, right? Fucking one of the stars of Copland and one of the stars of Malibu's Most Wanted. We're talking about fucking politics. That's how bad it's gotten.
Yeah.
And you, a female, a director of, I would say, rom-coms.
Yeah.
You do rom-coms.
Yeah.
with
I've never-
with a nice message.
I've
And yet you're as deep in it as anyone. You're deeper than any of those fucking late night hosts.
Well, my movies, even though they're rom-coms, they've always been about staying true to yourself. That's kind of-
100%.
yeah,
And there's a deeper message there. But what I'm saying is, people could look at you as walking out of your movies always feeling good. You're not this.
So.
You're not You're not like doing these crazy dark. It doesn't mean you can't you don't have it in you. What I'm saying is, you're going to the deepest places in your life, and you're providing loving escape with a message. That's what I did. I provided escape in comedy, and yet we're the ones talking.
Yeah.
Shouldn't it be?
Well, because we're communicators and we're truth tellers, and so that's through comedy or personal stories. But
Shouldn't it be Robert De Niro doing this?
well, he did. I mean, remember him the way he talked about Trump? Remember
Yeah,
that?
he did it the other way.
Yeah, he did it the other way. You brought up on one of your podcasts, which I didn't know because it was so much going on to keep track of, about Sean Penn, who we both can agree is a wonderful actor, and how much you were saying you respected him, and how he was saying, if you don't get vaccinated, you're walking around with a loaded gun, or I don't know what it was. It was something so extreme.
He said this. I'll repeat it for you.
Okay.
Unvaccinated people are the equivalent of pointing a loaded gun in your face.
Yeah, that is. Where's the apology? Because on the other one, what was it? Was it Biden who said this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated, or was it Fauci?
Yes.
Who knows? They're all the same. I mean, where is the apology? Okay, people who say, well, they got my liberal friends. Okay, so they made mistakes, so they didn't know. Okay. Then say you're sorry.
Yeah.
Just say you're sorry.
Yeah.
If people would just say, you know what, Piers Morgan, I don't follow him. I have no dog in the fight with him, but he was on Ben Shapiro's show, and he said, when people weren't getting vaccinated at the beginning, I was really nasty to them. I said, you're an idiot, you're irresponsible, you're selfish. He said, and you know what? I was wrong, and I'm sorry. And that is the only person I've ever heard say, I was wrong, I fell for the whole, everything that was being said, and I'm sorry. And my father's a surgeon, retired. And I finally said to him, Dad, you still haven't said you're sorry. My parents were so mean to me about not getting vaccinated.
What did they say? By the way, respect Piers Morgan. What did they say?
Yeah, no, I really respected him for saying that. I was that,
Your parents, you told them the truth?
Yeah, and I said, Dad, natural immunity is real, because I had COVID in 2020 before the vaccine. I said, I had natural immunity, which when they started saying it wasn't real, that's why I knew something was off. I planned to get the vaccine. I've gotten every vaccine. I'm pro-vaccine until this. So can't put the anti-vax label on me. Can't do it. But when they started saying, oh, natural immunity, no, that doesn't last, or that's just, then I knew something was up. I knew something was weird. And then when they started offering to pay me to get the vaccine.
Donut.
Yeah, donut, but actually...
$100.
Yeah, they were giving money, and I thought...
Hamburgers.
If a vaccine works, they're not going to pay you money to do it. Something's wrong. Something is off. But what really made me not get the vaccine was my son he was in college when it hit. He was a freshman. He came home for 2 years. Can you imagine what that did to those kids? And they said, you can't come back until you get the vaccine. We're not allowing anyone back on campus now that we're opening up. After 2 years of sticking you at home on Zoom, you cannot come back unless you get the vaccine, which is blackmail, which is putting a gun to your head, basically saying you can't have a college education. They're 18 years old, right? Their risk of getting COVID is much lower than their risk of the vaccine. I mean, this is just scientific studies. He had to get it. So my husband said, well, you know what? I'll get it first so you don't have to feel scared about getting it. So my husband got it. He got so sick. Then my son got it. He got so sick. And I thought they were both got so much sicker than they ever got with COVID. Fuck this. I'm not taking this. I don't want to get that sick. I already had COVID. How much worse could it be if I get it again? It wasn't that bad the first time, and I never got it again. I'm the only person I know. All my friends got vaccinated, and they've gotten COVID 1, 2, 3 times. And they've been boosted, and they've gotten it so many times. I never got it again because natural immunity is real. And I never social distance. I never wore a mask, and I just lived my life. Fear is powerful, very powerful. And that's how you control a population. I'm not the first one to say that, but this was, this whole thing to me is, now I'm going to sound like a conspiracy theorist.
Go for it.
Which I never was until this, but it's interesting that this has coincided with fentanyl because, and I do work as a drug and alcohol counselor, and that's a whole other podcast, but part-time. But you want to kill off a population, you want some population control, you get people high. Same thing with cannabis. I mean, big cannabis, you just make everybody high, make them lazy, make them dependent, turn them into slaves to a substance. They'll do whatever you say. Very parallel with what was going on with COVID. To me, these two things were kind of going on at the same time. I don't know.
Why with fentanyl? Because fentanyl is killing people.
Well, they could control it. I mean, they could control it coming into this country. They don't want to. They don't want to.
And you can speak on that because that's what you do.
Oh, I mean,
that's a whole other pod.
It's a whole other podcast we can do another time. I can just tell you that so many of my clients, they come from all over the country. I work at a rehab, a 9-bed rehab, and they usually come for 30 days. And as I said, they come from, all over the country. And I can't tell you how many of them relapsed or started during the pandemic, their drug use. What more people have been destroyed by the policies of COVID than by COVID. And we know that, not just businesses that were shut down, but the deaths of despair. And I work with the deaths of despair because some of my clients have died. They've overdosed, they leave and they overdose. If a few of them make it, that's what you have to focus on. You have to focus on the few that will make it. But what this did, it took away people's purpose. I say to them, why did you relapse? Because a lot of them come in and they've had long-term clean time or sobriety. And I say, why did you relapse? And they said, I had no job. I lost my job. I had no purpose. I was stuck at home. And I hear it over and over, and I just have to keep politics out of it. And I just have to be grateful that I work at a place that didn't make me get vaccinated and that didn't make me wear a mask, and said, you know what, these people need help, and we need people to help them, and we're not going to say you can't help them because you're not vaccinated.
How is your husband and son doing?
They're fine.
What college?
UC Santa Cruz.
Fucking hippies. It's always the hippies that are fake, open-minded.
Oh.
Fake. Okay. You said they're fine and you made a face, and I know why.
Well,
have you had that? Have you had... I'm going to tell you something, and I don't want to fucking fuck you up. Okay. No one in my family doesn't know him. Well, my brother knows I'm not unvaxxed. He knows that. And my sister does, but the rest of them... Whatever. I've always been fucking crazy in their eyes. You know what I mean? But I think eventually as more shit comes out... My nephew knows. He knows the truth. But he's fucking runs that needle. Even though he understands there's a point to what I did. But he's young, healthy as hell. Probably got 6 pokes. It's insane. Yeah, I know.
Jesus.
But here's the question.